Good morning. Good morning. Mic check, 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 check. I think we are good. Nice try. Nice try. A little late, but we'll take it. Thank you. Started my position in JD today. Yeah. I mean, they all look really, really, really good to be straight up. What a Monday, man. Happy Monday, Moon Day. Dude. Who freaked out on Friday? I'm not gonna lie, it was a little freaky. Freaky Friday. Opening up to Monday, Moon Day. I mean, can't hate it. Cannot hate it. All right, so we're starting a little bit late. Hopefully that's all right. Give everybody a minute. Actually, if you guys can post this on X, whatever, get the family over here. Get them in. I'm liking this price action. We got a handful of catalysts. All right. Good morning. We are in the house. First, I've been watching. Oh, welcome, man. Welcome. Give the show a like, channel subscribe, and we are good to go. JD, yeah, those things, what do we got? It's not just JD. I mean, it's everything. But yeah, JD has some catalysts coming early November we can take a look at. I posted something on that option chain for the options traders out there. That was just absolutely wicked. SPY, as I'm looking at this, making new highs for the day. But yeah, it's looking good. Good morning. Afternoon, if it is afternoon for you. But if you're new to the show, welcome. Again, what we do here every Monday around roughly the lunch hour is kind of take a break from the markets. I personally don't trade a whole lot on Mondays. Usually it's a bit of a whipsaw. This Monday looks good so far. Friday was, I have my Freaky Friday Halloween decor for the day. Actually, I might keep it here for a couple. You guys like? I mean, he's a little spooky, not too spooky. CRM first. CRM has catalyst, I believe, tomorrow. Dreamforce coming in hot tomorrow. That stock, man, I'll tell you, that stock has been down in the dumper for a minute. But it does look primed. I will say it does absolutely look primed. And I do have a couple CRM positions. And that one is making a new high as we speak, at least on the day. So we shall see. But again, if you're new to the channel, welcome, subscribe, put the notifications on every Monday, at least for right now. We will be going live to do kind of like a weekly check-in. If you're coming in from other channels, we'll do on other days. We do a lot of TA all over the place. We do a lot of Twitter, X streams, things like that. A lot of live trading. When this video gets updated, we'll have timestamps and everything put in, and there's a link into the Discord also. There's a little free section you can hop in, chat with some people, what have you. If you want to at me in the free section of the server, feel free, and if I see it, I'll pop in. But yeah, maybe we'll open up some live sessions in there from time to time. And I think as we ramp into the sports season, we might make sure you're in the server, because I'm pretty sure we're just going to open up that sports betting section every now and then for a little weekend pass. So if you're not in there, you're going to miss that one. And I would just suggest being in there. So anyways, it is free. But that said, let's go ahead and hop into this. Cool. So this is what I got for the week. I mean, Freaky Friday turns out to be like Liberation Day 2.0 to an extent. We'll see. It's only Monday. And already we've got the tweet of the weekend on don't worry about China. I like this. So Jay says low volume. To be honest with you, Jay, if you looked at the Friday sell-off, it was actually and I'll go back, but I'm pretty sure that was a low volume sell-off. So if there was one that I wasn't going to believe, it was actually going to be the sell-off of Friday rather than today. But I haven't really looked, again, at the markets in depth just yet. I do like to give it a little bit for the dust to settle. But I did buy the dip, man. I'll tell you what, I bought the dip. I bought the dip on Friday. Mostly just mostly SMCI. That was like the main trade at the moment for sure. But yeah, I think a while ago the invitation didn't work on the link tree. It'll be updated in the YouTube for sure. Or if you go into the after the show, if you want to go into a different video, it's updated in the descriptions. So it's all there. Maybe, I don't think so. We might have somebody come in later on, but we'll just roll with what we got so far. So today, I got a lot of questions about gold. What's going on with the gold situation? That thing is just creeping up all-time highs nearly every day. I'll tell you what, if you look around, the global banks, not just China, but it's China, Poland, and India, accumulate gold to diversify around the US dollar and hedge against geopolitical risks. So globally, central banks have net doubled their gold reserves. And this is not a trade that's been happening over the last month, weeks, years, right? This is like a multi-year breakout anyway. So it's definitely not something I would really fight. Except maybe for like a day or two, but the trend here is just absolutely insane. I know a lot of hedge fund managers are like, "Oh, this thing's gonna pull back," and I've even talked to them before, and I'm like, "Dude, I don't know about all that, man." But yeah, this is not something that's taken a while to. This is not something that happened overnight. This is something that's been building and probably continues to build as long as we have a weak US dollar and general geopolitical risk. So just understand that's what's happening. Dollar coming down, cool. Hedge against geopolitical risk remains. Expect gold to continue to rise. That's the deal. In the meantime, Friday's sell-off was really a threatening of, I think it was 100% tariffs on China. And then Trump posts a tweet. I don't have the tweet, but it was mostly, let me see. It was, "Don't worry about China. She just had a bad moment," right? It was, "Don't worry about China. It'll all be fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it. President Donald J. Trump." And I'm like, dude, all right. So there you have it. Taco, it's in. That's what we have. Ooh, I need to get a new mouse, man. This thing is really bad. So the threat was, by the way, over rare earth materials, which is also why we're seeing like MP. I saw MP this morning. That is the main one, nearly at $100. Oh God, 98 and change. That's just insane. USAR is the other main one. US rare earths. They also have a warrant out there. It's USARW. These stocks are flying really high. There might be some kind of secondary trade around this as well. But interestingly, to go along with like precious metals, rare earths, weak dollar, net, I mean, there's a lot of ways to trade this theme across the market for sure. You guys are already putting the tickers in there. And then to me, honestly, the other big headline was this Broadcom OpenAI chip agreement. And that agreement is actually a massive deal. If you're not familiar with what happened, let me see if I can pull it up again. It was an agreement for a custom chip. And I think it was, let me pull the gigawatts on it, but it was quite a bit. Yeah, largest AI agreements to date. Joint development to develop up to 10 gigawatts of custom AI accelerators and networking systems. 10 gigawatts, like there's math out there that's like, it's like 35 billion per gigawatt, which could put this deal in towards like $400-500 billion, which is why you saw Broadcom up like 7%. It's like 125 billion market cap out of the gate, which was just absolutely insane. If you guys are putting tickers in now, here's my one request. If you're going to put tickers in now, put context around your tickers in terms of how long and if you have a catalyst. So ticker, time frame, like your time horizon, and why. That's my request. Other than that, if I see a OpenAI, that's cool. Yeah, but OpenAI 2 weeks in a row hits the headlines. I mean, this is a big one. But yeah, this is it on the surface. If you're just scanning it, it didn't look like a huge headline, but underneath the covers here, quite frankly, this is probably one of the biggest headlines that we've actually seen in terms of potential size longer term in a really in a while. So we're used to seeing, $15 billion data center builds. This is multiples of that size when you really think about it. So yeah, it's quite a bit. Oh, beautiful. I love this. This is huge. Context is huge. Appreciate that, guys. That's a massive help. So if you can do that one line, love it. I will prioritize those type of requests all day. Helps me move faster also. This mouse has got to go. Otherwise, government shutdowns predicted to extend beyond 35 days. I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is really going to happen. On Robinhood, they have the contracts where you can actually now predict how long this government shutdown is going to last. I'll tell you what, I put a prediction that it will not last past the 16th, and I got absolutely shellacked on that because I put it as 16th because I think that's the first military paycheck that has to go, which I think now they're predicting 35 days, over 35 days. That's the other paychecks. That's all the regular federal employee paychecks, which I don't know. I got a notice on my USAA. If you don't have USAA, too bad. But that they're giving out all the zero interest loans for government employees. So make sure you guys get on that, I guess. But yeah, even if military doesn't get paid, there are vehicles out there that will provide, I believe, some pretty near-term kind of like Band-Aid loans. So I think those kind of triggers have been set off. Other than that, some of the bigger stuff like bull market enters the fourth year with cautious optimism. I run this on this is a presidential cycle pattern. So seasonal presidential cycle. So year one. So in the middle of a presidential cycle, this is usually where the big moves happen. So this is year 3 and 4. So we're coming off of year 3 and 4 from the Biden administration, and we're on year 2 and then coming into year 4. So this is what they're talking about, this current bull market. Usually we will have a dip right in here. But right now, these dips are getting bought so fast and so furious. Like it's pretty crazy. But we are here in the cycle, and so realistically, I don't know. I don't know that we're going to get a big. If we do get a dip, look, everything's getting bought so fast. It's a little wild, but we have been extended to an extent, which is why we see things like Friday's price action happen, especially on a Friday, especially Fridays after giant runs. That's typically when we see a lot of profit taking happen. And if there's not into the holiday season, when volume starts to die down, we can see some kind of violent moves one way or the other. And from here moving forward, we should see that volume start to decrease still, right? So we just came out of what we call like the high holy days, more or less. And then we're going to come into Halloween and then Thanksgiving through Christmas for sure. That's when the volume really dies down. Sorry, I didn't move this one, but in October, we're coming out of September. October, generally speaking, is kind of wish-washy, right? Like it can be up, it can be down, it can be a little bit of sideways. So October is the month where usually, generally, it's flat to up. And that's because we're coming into Q4 earnings, to the last earnings of the quarter of the year before we get into the very last push into the what we call the Santa Claus rally, which is technically the very last couple of days of the year. But the ramp into that starts towards the end of October, which is just around the corner. And I think that's what we're starting to see. That's this guy right here, this little move right in here on the charts. But that said, I'm doing my data, like trying to pull data for the week and what we have on deck. And I'm just like, wow, we really don't have anything. So today, Monday, is very light. I mean, one guy's speech, there's really nothing to put on the radar. Tomorrow, I had JPal on deck. I'd have to pull that up, see where he's speaking or something. But and somewhat surprisingly, we have something called the Beige Book on Wednesday, which is before the next FOMC meeting. What happens is that the Beige Book gets released, and during the FOMC meeting, that's when all the Fed presidents basically have already put their reports into the Fed. So all the Fed presidents put together these little reports by region, and they turn that into the Fed. And then the Fed reviews all the little reports, and then they make the decision for the country. What the Beige Book is, that's the collection of all the little regional reports. And so that gets released on Wednesday. And why we're seeing still a lot of these Fed speeches going on right now. So that'll come out on Wednesday. Last week we did get FOMC minutes, which basically was more the same. It was pretty bullish, and I think that kind of pushed the market slightly higher last Wednesday. So for the data that we are getting, look, it's actually looking pretty good. We're not getting a lot of data. We do get the Beige Book. We get Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, some housing stats on Thursday, and then rig counts on Friday. But let me see if as I'm pulling this up, if I'm looking at this at the calendar, here's the actual calendar. Fed speech. This is Tuesday, the 14th. What I was going to do is go down to the bottom of the weekly calendar, is like this here. This is all the data that we're not going to get. So PPI, retail sales, jobless claims, not getting. This is a lot. Continuing claims, not getting. Yeah, so all the PPI stats, retail sales, jobless claims, we got none of that this week. So not showing up. Not the regular housing stats, export prices, import prices, none of this is coming in. Building permits not coming in. I mean, there you have it. There's a lot of data that we're going to miss. And so I think without that, we just kind of rely on what we do have. Some manufacturing indexes, this is a Wednesday, mortgage stuff. It's pretty weak across the board. But you know what I'll do? Let's go ahead and pull up our buddy's X feed really quick. Evan, and I know he's not here today. Someone just ordered me a laser mouse. Make sure it's quiet. I just need it super quiet. This one's clicky. Oh, yeah. Oh, you rock, dude. I was going to buy that one. Look at that. You guys rock. Shout out Dead Money for ordering me a new mouse live on stream. But here you go. So from Evan, who's out today, another crazy week ahead in the stock market, full catalyst. So we have a lot of stuff to get through for the catalyst. I think this par for the course for sure. Trump and Xi, look, if you didn't see it coming, I really don't know. How do you not? If you didn't see it coming, was this not like the easiest dip buy or was it hard? You guys tell me. Was it hard or was it tough? Or was it easy? I don't know. I just felt like looking at this, I'm like, I had my shopping list. I knew what I want to buy. That's that's exactly what I just ordered, dude. Yep. And I mean, geez, this thing is clicky. Like, this is just too, you hear that? It's just way too clicky. That's great. These gaming mice, I don't need this super high DPI stuff. I have to like throttle that thing down. It's just not needed. We thought it wasn't going to bottom on Friday. Yeah. You know, I had on Friday, I had some stuff that was opening up at resistance, and it was more like, okay, we're opening up at resistance. I actually had some shorts on as day trades, which if you're an active trader, and we do a lot of this in the community, if you're an active trader, listen, and you see stuff like this happen, and this is just a rant, midstream rant from your boy, but what I would say is first order of business is not to panic. If you don't day trade a whole lot, just kind of like shut it down and walk away and let the dust settle. Make sure that if you don't day trade a lot and you're not actively watching the market, you're buying like equities, or that you're trading things appropriately for your time horizon. Meaning, like, if you plan on holding things for a long time, don't be buying options that are like less than 45 days to expiration. That's probably not a good deal. That's probably not a good idea, because even if we do bounce, those kind of things might not recover all the way. But in the meantime, if you are an active trader, I still am not like selling long-term stuff, but very short dated, I will hedge. And personally, I did a lot of this during the pandemic. I'm not trying to go out and buy a lot of time on hedges, but you know, if you're an active trader, and especially for people in our community, it's like, we'll teach day trading for sure. And even though I'm primarily a swing trader, to be a good swing trader, you really need to know how to day trade also. And you'll know when things are at least no longer going up for the day, and when they could take a turn for the worst intraday. And you hedge short term. And we had some like really good trades to the downside. And then this headline kind of kicked off. If you can't do that, fine, it's all good. That's not even going to offset a drawdown in my long-term accounts. It's just not, because quite frankly, the day trading stuff is mostly play money. But at the end of the day, it's just don't freak out, right? Like, don't freak out. This stuff is just, it comes and goes. We can be on our A game from a technical perspective, but there are two things that are greater than technicals, and that is fundamental analysis for sure can override technicals. That is like earnings, things like that, a shift in the storyline of an underlying company, which is why me asking for context matters a lot, right? Like, if there's something happening from a fundamental perspective, that matters more than the charts. And I'm not necessarily always going to know right away, because you might know something that's coming down the road. Or the second one is sentiment. And sentiment near term can blow through your support and or resistance, but that still needs to kind of level out. So in either case, just know a sentiment shift specifically like this, which is what I would not say this was a fundamental shift. It's a sentiment shift, like the attitude towards the market in the moment. You'll get a lot of knee-jerk reactions. They don't last. They're not necessarily stuff that you want to jump in like and buy immediately, because if you had done that in the morning, well, by the afternoon it was not looking great. And if you are going to, I would say at least at the bare bones minimum, wait to the very end of the day, which was my post. And actually what I did do, and it ended up working out good. So sorry for the rant, but that's all I had to say. Just no freak out, knee-jerk reactions and sell everything. And now you'd be opening up Monday and be like, oh, I got to FOMO back in. And by the way, I think some of the banks are closed, so you might not even have all your cash. Anyways, so today, Monday, this is Evan's Catalyst watch. So he's got, what is this? Rigetti, US Rare Earth. No, this is overbought stuff. IPO watch, nothing. NVIDIA, all day. NVIDIA Open Compute Project, OCP Global Summit, will showcase NVIDIA's latest innovations. I don't know what time this is, but apparently there's an NVIDIA summit, Open Compute Project. I didn't know about that, and I haven't been watching NVIDIA today. And then Cloudflare management discuss AI security. All right. And Oracle. Actually, Oracle hit like a perfect pullback, technical pullback last week. And here we go, is doing an Oracle AI World event. So couple things there. Tuesday earnings. Here we go with earnings season. We're back in the groove. BlackRock, Cities. I don't know about Domino's, man. I'm just not feeling Domino's pizza. Goldman Sachs, J&J on a stealth rally to all-time highs. I'll tell you what, I missed this thing. Wells Fargo, JP Morgan. So earnings season has begun. Begins with the banks. Here it is. Oh, here you go. And then Tuesday. So Jay Powell delivered a speech in Philadelphia at the National Association of Business Economics annual meeting. So economic outlook and monetary policy. That could be an important meeting. That's tomorrow. So that's his speech tomorrow that we had on the calendar. General Mills Investor Day, probably not going to be a market moving event. Boeing has been choppy, and it looks like there's an extended phase review. I thought this was done. Spirit Aerosystems. That's a catalyst. I didn't have this on watch, so this is why we do these things. The European Commission extended phase review of Boeing, Spirit Aerosystem, and Holdings. The deal will expire, which means that if they didn't make a decision, then tomorrow this deal should go through. Somebody update in the chat if that's right. Rocket Lab has had some, Rocket Lab and ASTS, man, these guys headlines like left and right. Launch window opens for Rocket Lab for Electron rocket for Japan-based satellite data and analytics company Simspective. Microsoft Windows 10 support. I mean, that's not much. And then here we go. So 9 a.m. tomorrow is Dreamforce 2025. This is like the biggest event of the year for Salesforce. The chart is ready. Is it a sell the news event? I have no idea. But looks like he's got Sundar coming, Brian Nichols coming. I'm not really sure what Brian Nichols is. Oh, maybe how they're going to do the Starbucks turnaround, possibly. And then some more Federal Reserve conversation. But this one, listen, if Benioff can turn it around, the turnaround should or could begin tomorrow. They will probably start to front run it today. They were already kind of starting to nibble at it, but it's not been strong. Just keep it on watch. Wednesday, ASML. All right, so ASML. This one is we got to watch out for this one. ASML has absolutely fumbled the last, I don't know how many earnings reports. And they've taken the semis down with a lot of them at the same time, which ends up being a buy the dip moment for a lot of them. But ASML just, I don't know. This one is the only one holding me back. I usually want to wait for this guy to report because these guys are not good. These guys have not done very good. And you can look at their chart, but their earnings report, they kind of like, they leave ripples in the ecosystem that can be a little damaging sometimes. So that's my one caution for the semis is ASML on Wednesday. Looks like morning. So just as an aside, if they fumble. If they do good though, it'd be like the first time in forever that it actually happens. Dollar Tree Investor Day, HPE. I'm not a big HPE fan, but my guess is that it might be a little depressed, similar to SMCI. So Dreamforce kicks off Tuesday. Wednesday looks like there's going to be an investor day also. So 2-day event. That's an investor day baked into Dreamforce conference. Wow. Okay. I don't know if that's normal. NACS. Yeah, we're not doing that one. Consumer. Yeah, not happening. More speeches. Thursday. TSM. Huge day today off that Broadcom news. Schwab, US Bancorp, CSX, Travelers. Yeah, these are big. So we got, definitely Dreamforce. And there was, what was the other one that I didn't have on my watch? Oh, and Boeing, which I have a position in both. Friday, American Express, Truist, Ally, and some more banks. And then, here we go. TwitchCon. 3-day event, TwitchCon. Event holds some relevance for investors, particularly interested. I don't know that that's going to. Yeah, that's not going to move a needle. Nice, but not going to do it. But that's it for the Catalyst Watch. Earnings on deck. Here's what we have for this week. So this is TSMC, ASML before the open Wednesday, TSMC before the open Thursday. So hopefully if it's a dip, then it's a rip, and then we continue on for the week. But other than that, this is it. This is the beginning of earnings for the season. And that is it, boys and girls. All right, before we get to the rest of this, let's do this. Let's take a quick check-in with our friend, Miss Cleo, who I think is still around. But let's go ahead and do a quick check-in. She's been a little off, but she did call last week. I hear she did call last week. So we'll give her another shot, see what she has in store for us this week. So where is my slides? I know I have it. I was racing to get these. Here it is. All right, guys. There it is. So there is, dude, this mouse is going to garbage. This is the actual reading we got for the week. So last week, I think we ended off, and I remember last week she called that we were going to have like a bunch of coins. And then I remember looking at it and it was like, by the end of the week, we only had like one left. And I was like, I don't really know how I feel about that. So that's what happened. I think this was crypto's, this is like the final death card. I think it is. It looks bad. Man, I don't know. I don't know what she's calling here. Maybe it's death for the Bears. Maybe it's death for the Bulls. We don't really know. But, that's the theme that's the theme card. That's all I have to say. That's what it is. Monday, 7 of coins. So we got our coins back, and then we have ones, which I remember she says are impulsive. Then we go from 3 to 8. And this is I don't know. We're starting again. This better not be the top. So we're starting again with a lot. And then we kind of chop around, but I feel like we're ending the week with less. But we're queen and king. And then I have this theme card here, which is very confusing. Is obviously this does not look good. So anyways, I'm not a professional at this. So let me just read what she has to say. So theme card is the Ten of Swords. This setup here is quite similar to the crypto set. The world brought completion, And now the Ten of Swords brings completion of its own type, death. It's a completion and it's death. Death to what? This card usually brings choppy sessions that indicate some sort of top or bottom. See? Or bottom. That's all I know. It has a bit of a bullish bias. Didn't see that coming. So this may be a week to grind our way back up Friday's ladder. All right. All right. See, you thought it would sell everything, but nope. She's saying something different. It may also mark the end of whichever energy it brings. Wow. This is how she does. Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Whatever. This card says, it's not time to harvest. It's not time to harvest profits. Oh. I wasn't even thinking about taking profits today. I don't know if you guys were or not. We must patiently wait and remain diligent for our efforts. As you can guess, this implies chop or slower journey to the goal that we had hoped for. The bond market is closed today for the Columbus Day holiday, which is why if you made any transactions Friday, I don't think it's going to settle. So that could be a drain on liquidity. Oh, so she knew. If somehow the overnight trend survives, then I would avoid chasing. That doesn't mean it's bearish, just that there may not be much to gain. All right, Three of Wands. This card arrives after a planning phase. So today is a planning day because of this Columbus Day holiday, there's probably still a lot of cash that can't engage today that may want to engage today. Whether it's shorts that had to covered on Friday that maybe wanted to re-engage this morning, or longs that maybe sold Friday and maybe wanted to, buy back today. One of the two. There's definitely cash on the sidelines because of this Columbus Day holiday. A lot of funds are not settled yet. This card arrives after a planning phase to invoke a period of rapid expansion. That's tomorrow. Wands are impulsive, so we can expect some big swings. Trend is possible to the upside, especially if Monday closes green. There you go. The worst case for bulls is probably a slightly negative close. I wouldn't have it. Okay. Wednesday is 8 of Wands. 3 to 8 brings more movement in the direction of Tuesday, I think is what that is. And more firepower. Yeah, more firepower. Most of this will be used to go back and forth rather than in a single direction. If we do trend, it will be lower. So I would expect to sell rallies for most of the day. Wednesday. Okay. So if it's a huge pop on Tuesday, take a little profit into Wednesday. That's fine. Plus, we have ASML on Wednesday morning because who knows what's going to happen with ASML. Thursday, Queen of Pentacles. The Queen arrives when we need help. The Queen arrives when we need helping, keeping our treasure safe. Okay, that's cool. She's a protector, but not a fighter. This means the bottom should hold, but bullish energy is unlikely. Flat day. Upside chop is our best hope. Negative trend is the danger. But I don't know where they're getting the stats, but okay, 80% chance of continuation in what? I don't know. Friday, Queen to King may seem like it brings more of the same, but the King of this suit is quite powerful. Oh, the King of this suit is quite powerful and brings a surge of positive energy. Positive surge. That's all I'm reading. Maybe I have like goggles on, but we should close the week on a positive note. I mean, that's straight up positive. So Miss Cleo is saying up. That's what I'm reading. I can't see any major bearish events, and we have several chances for positive recovery, but that's just enough weakness to keep us stuck in range between zones. After a big move like we just got, it makes a lot of sense anyways to have some kind of crazy sideways price action. So this is what I'm going to do. This is a 30-minute chart. I'm going to go ahead and take off all of our stuff here. And broad, this is my view. Broad indices, I guess either tomato. I have on the top, so SPY, Qs, we call this diamonds, DIA, and IWM. Actually, it looks like IWM has made the best recovery out of all of these so far. I don't know if that's interesting or not, but so far, that is the situation. Dollar climbing slightly. Gold, look at this gap up. That's insane. Bitcoin bouncing. Ethereum had a huge bounce, and VIX kind of stabilizing. So we shall see. What I'm going to do here, this is a weekly chart. I think the biggest thing, wow, my lines. So I can take some of these lines off. The biggest thing is like right now we're inside of last week's candle. So last week, because of how we closed, this is what we call an outside candle where we actually make a new high and a new low at the same time. And what you want to do is a pretty straightforward setup from a candlestick perspective is you just go left to right, whatever, top to bottom, left to right. And the center line of this, the middle of this candle here is 634.30. I have this kind of janky NFP level. This is ADP, which is exactly in this box that we're trending right now. So we haven't gone below the ADP 660. So for right now, I don't have a reason to, if I drop this down to a daily, I still don't have actually a trigger short at the index level. I actually do not. If we can start closing above 663.40, there are a couple trading ranges here. 1 to 666, and then 2 into that 669 area right here. Let me make these bigger, sorry. All right, updated the numbers. So NFP, that's ADP. It's not actually NFP. So if we're over 663, that's a 50% retracement of last week's range from top to bottom. That's a bullish or that's a bearish retracement that we kind of ran into yet this morning. But if we can close over that, then the odds of us getting into that 666 area, which is the top of this mark, is extremely high. And if we get a close above that 666.5, well, you guys have seen this movie before if you watch the show or if you're familiar with me. We've been seeing this setup quite a bit play out like to the penny. That's one move, two moves. And at this point, you do kind of expect some kind of stalwart action, possibly a little bit of a pullback like that, and then maybe a rest. And then from here, you kind of best case scenario is the bounce. So that would be, this is like nearly exactly, this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I think that's what Miss Cleo actually just outlined, but that's how I see it in the charts. What we don't want to see is we don't want to see big bearish closes below 660. But for right now, that's not what I see. Q is going to be very similar from a daily perspective, and I already have this kind of outlined. This looks like we're above the bullish retracement from that area. These were upside targets from this ADP event. If I take the weekly range, actually really just this candle is similar here. That's 601. So it'd be 601 to 605. From here, it would be right in there. And then you do expect some kind of pullback base. And that's 615. Same kind of setup. This is exactly what you would expect from a technical perspective. The only things that you don't want to see are way down here like this. But again, see how far away we are from this? We're really far away. So the only thing that can make that happen is some kind of new headline, which look, if you're not actively trading, you're not going to be able to catch that, live. It's just not going to happen. In the meantime, just around 600 for Qs and then just around 660 for SPY are going to be about your basic pullbacks. The dollar, this is kind of like that one canary in the coal mine, is doing a very similar kind of move. We just went up and we're into that bullish or bearish retracement on this broader move here to here. We're actually literally right on it. So I have this outlined now as a potential bounce on the dollars. It's rare to see the dollar rally and gold rally at the same time, but when gold has been in this, that up for so long, this is just kind of what we're getting. But about that 99 area on DXY, or that's the dollar index, that's a massive pivot. We pull this all the way across. It's a huge pivot. I would go almost go so far as to say is like over 100 is when this downtrend is almost like broken. Nearly. So the dollar downtrend is more or less broken, but it's going sideways. And a lot of times we'll see this as typical price action is just going sideways for an extended period of time, which was not actually horrible. Bitty looks fine to me. And the only other one, I was a little bummed here because on some of our other shows, like our Technical Tuesday shows, we'd outline two areas of interest for Ethereum. One actually was 37 and the other was about 35. And man, oh man, did that 35 level hit. And I did not have, this is like flash, I did not have my orders resting on a lot of, I didn't want to buy, I didn't have a lot of stuff in my shopping list in crypto, but there were some serious discounts that went on in the flash crash Friday afternoon. So if you're new to crypto, well, welcome. This is what happens. That Bart Simpson kind of scenario. Look, not holding this one here, that was kind of the first tell, look, we're going to come back down. But when we couldn't get back above this, that's when at least you're going to consolidate a little bit more. We ended up getting a second liquidity grab, which was to that 35. Is it done? I don't know. But these are the scenarios that are these are the buys that I'd rather get. If we got another one of these, to me, it's more in this 28, 32 areas. But for all intents and purposes, connect this to these kind of areas here. This general chop zone is where I would expect because this is what we call the Icaramba, the Bart Simpson. I would expect this general chop zone to end up being the inverse Icaramba before we actually go for launch and inverse it back to the upside. So I don't know that we're going to get a whole lot more than what we actually just got. Those were my levels on Ethereum, literally right there. Does that mean that it flies from here? I don't know, but I would expect Ethereum at this point, if it's going to work, to start to recover faster than Bitcoin, which I believe we're actually seeing that. In fact, yeah, we are seeing exactly that. So at this point, from here, looks like Ethereum's becoming stronger, which is exactly what you would want to see. Gold's just doing Gold's thing, man. That's crazy. All right, guys. So I'm going to take a look here. Again, if you put the context into your requests, I will prioritize that for sure. These are very helpful things. What I'm going to do... My fault. Stop that. Let's see. Scroll onto the top. Yan, dude, congrats, by the way. This guy had a like epic run for sure. I held all my SMCI, guys. I didn't sell any of it. Okay. Soundhound up 12% today, even though everything else was down. So nothing was down. Nothing was down today that I know of. Looking for leaps 2026. So first of all, Jay, January 2026 is not a leap. That is not a leap at all. That is what we call. Is that even going to qualify as a MEEP? We have this fun term that we've talked about is there's leaps. So a leap is 12 months or longer. And then we've coined this term, a MEEP, which is like a mini leap, which would be like, 6 to 9 months in my head. 6 to 9 months would be like a mini leap. January 2026, let's be crystal clear here. That's 3 months. That's not even close to a leap. We're even kind of even almost maybe a leap. So make sure you understand that's not a lot of time. And this is one, January 2026 is not one that would recover on a crazy pullback. So if your terminology is right and you actually wanted to leap, you need to be looking at 2027, not 2026. And in that case, this looks more like 25s because you would be looking for this area and you want to make sure that this kind of pulls in. You have a pretty solid channel here. Since this is the craziest one where it had like really good earnings, pulled all the way back, and then has been actually since that pullback been in a pretty solid channel to the upside. So here's the channel that Soundhound is in. Trade location matters. So today is an okay day. You could get another one, but towards the bottom end of this general channel here, right, is your ideal trade location. The one thing I would caution, this is the broader trend, is that it's still fighting this broader trend up here. So it's still technically, if I were to make that channel from here, it's getting a little toppy, if that makes sense, meaning it's slightly at risk. Without a fundamental story, what happens is that these two things start to converge, get real tight, and then this is actually going to line up with earnings on November 6th. And you could either go like this or you could bounce out like that. So I'm going to give two options here. So this scenario would be a retest into this area right here, possibly a little bit higher. And let's go ahead and measure this here to here. Boom. So as close to 15 as you can on some kind of weird, because this is a small cap, on some kind of weird fluke earnings miss, fluke earnings beat and skeets. Pull back into the 15s is going to be your deep discount buy zone. And in that case, 2027 is an actual leap. 2026 is not. If you want to meet in between, then you can go to June. No. The only thing in between is April. But just be aware, November is earnings. There are a lot of near-term stuff, so you could do stuff in between. January is just not a lot of time. Not to say it's bad, but January is going to basically cover you for this one earnings. And in this case, it would be to 2260. And it looks like, the January $20 calls are trading at 360. You always prioritize volume over open interest. And so today's volume is on those January calls. These are not ones that you can actually hold long-term unless it's well over 25. So the only way that I think if you can get this and you get this trajectory into, just know that by earnings, this will probably get a crush on this specific contract. They're not good holds. And then you can get an extension. But other than that, I'll pull back into this 18s. If you do get this move first, and then a pullback into the 18s is good. Otherwise, some kind of fluke headline, deep discounts into the 15s looks like a solid discount for a shopping list. If only people knew how bullish I was on SMCI, I don't know, but that's okay. I just like, every day there's a fracking new headline. To me, zero probability this does not report their best earnings ever. So January is a similar story. January's are not leaps here, so they're very near term. They're basically going to cover any kind of run-ups into, because this is my channel and I'm an options trader, I can talk about options. What we're going to do is you go from the absolute highs to the absolute lows. And so 70, swing high, swing lows. And the reason I do this is because I want to know if I'm going to be a bull, I want to know where the real bears are really waiting for me. So the real bears are really waiting for me at 70, which means that somewhere in here, especially as close to 50 as I can, which is Liberation Day. This actually hit this, I believe, overnight. Really close to it. I don't think we get another shot at that, but if you do, great. That would be kind of like the loading zone. I think this is ready. But into 70 is the first target for me. That's like pre-earnings, especially with everything going on. And then post-earnings, to me, once you're over 70, you go into this 80, 85 kind of area. Post-earnings, which means that this has to be way beyond January. So to me, I'm actually like in 2027s. I have some Marches. I have some 2026s. SMCI. But this right here, I think when you look at this, we can see, okay, 1, 2, to me, this is like the third shot at this range here. So we broke out of that. This range is this guy from this breakdown. And so you get 1, 2, 3. This is the third attempt. Now, any rebound that we're talking about that's in process right now, any rebound from here, now, to me, this is the beginning of the fourth attempt, kind of like end of story. And that fourth attempt is into that $50, $60 wall right in here. So the fourth attempt should go. So to me, this is where it happens. And if you wanted to get like really deep in the weeds, sure, you can do that. But there'll be probably some kind of small stuffing up in here that eventually resolves up and out. That's into the 65, 70s area, which again, at that point, once that breaks, it'll probably pull back again. So the pathing kind of looks like a pullback into the 62s in real life. Post earnings, I think something like this is realistic. This is into earnings. And then when they finally do report, here's what I'll say, is that people don't like the amount of margin that they don't have, 9% or something like that. The forecast is, there's no way they're lowering. I saw somebody say this. Okay, forecast is going to be like through the roof. There might be a blip on the radar, maybe, but you'll measure some kind of pullback. And this is going to be essentially a retracement into that general area for that resolution up and out through here. But this would be my target Q1 next year, which makes this like March kind of timeline. realistically. Do I get lucky before then? Possibly. Celsius, January 2026, CLH. So similar setup. Celsius had a decent retest right now. So from the double top of, we'll call it death, $60.28 is a critical, crucial hold. And that is exactly what this hold is today. I mean, to the penny, which is crazy, right? This is an exact. So this was resistance, now support. It was support and had flipped into resistance here. This is a typical SR flip. This is looking consolidative buy. So I think that Celsius is developing a new cohort as we speak. So can it go sideways for a little bit? Yeah. But I think these dips probably buyable. You got 1, 2, 3. Even if it pulls back a little bit into sub 60s, I think this looks constructive net. Rockstar acquisition. The next move here should be into that very low 70s, at which point it'll probably chop around a little bit. And that's going to fill really this low volume pocket right in here, from here to here. Also measuring absolute swing high, absolute swing low. This is a bear zone. This is a bearish retracement. But again, first level of the bears, if they give this up, you should see very close into that 70s on this next move, as long as this holds. And when I say this meaning roughly 60, which is holding right about now. And this is, you can see it through the chart. This is a pretty big inflection point. This is constructive. This looks bullish to me. I like it. I like it. So that's Celsius. But they have, I think this says November earnings. TradingView is notoriously horrible for putting the wrong earnings dates on their chart, so I have no idea. NEO, 36 month China. Yeah. All right. We'll take a look. This says mid-Wednesday or mid-November. This thing is pretty stunted. I don't know. So I can't say the catalyst for NEO. Not a fan personally, but we'll just look at the charts. 715 is the biggest pivot here. Let me just get my volume. It's 770. What is that from? $750s. These are big gaps. 3 to 6 months. So buys would be as close to 6 as you can. You got 640 just the other day. That's this area right here. You don't want to see below, I don't know, 550, 575. And as long as this trajectory is good, that means that this is kind of like your dip buy area. Your channel that lined up perfectly to a T is actually expanding. Best case scenario on the chart, this says 10. I have some confidence to 960. Yeah, so that's where the bears are going to show up. I'm going to grab a little fair value here. 921. Not sure what happened this day. 930, just under 10. Just under 950. So that would be general trajectory. Assuming this holds, you'd have a little bit of a bounce and you'd have some more consolidation, and then you'd have essentially that. So that's exactly what that would look like. You would have to get through this completely to talk about 11s. I don't know that that's within this time frame. That might be more like 6 to 9 months. But for sure, this, as long as this area here is holding over 6, is well within reason, which could be a pretty good move on a equity stake. Walter, bmnr, no, doesn't happen. I don't have anything for you, sir. Day trading, 53. I don't think that's realistic, but I gave you 53s. You're right there. As close to 50 as possible. Actually, if you got it in the after hours equity, dude, you got a really good deal. So bmnr does not work like this, to be absolutely crystal clear. Their options do not work like this. You have to go like 1 to 2 weeks out. And you have to be absolute pinpoint precision. Best case scenario, $60 call October 24th, not a month. You don't even want a month. That's it. October 24th, $60 call. That's a 240 right now. Prioritize volume, not open interest if you're talking about options. But that's off the lows here. That was indeed, in fact, literally right here. That's literally the spot that we'd outlined on multiple streams. Trade location. This was the last one. Literally, that was the one before. This is this one right here. It lines up to this area right here. That's exactly what we lined out. Not to chase this. In fact, to wait for this exact pullback. There it is in all its glory. Dun, 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 which means that you will kind of ride back into this $60 range, maybe slightly over. Maybe you get lucky, but do you break out? I don't think so, because you're still net in this kind of consolidation channel. All right, but entry matters. Timing matters. Or equity, but make $5,000. I'm glad he had a laugh with that too. Palo Alto remainder of the year. So there's not a lot of time left in the year. There's like 2 months. Palo Alto though looking good net for the year. I think that last was a pretty solid break over all-time highs. When you zoom out Palo Alto, here's a broader view. This actually didn't know I was going to see this, did you? Maybe you did. I don't know how much credit they're giving me, if they even had an idea I knew this was here. This is actually, this is a pretty big breakout to, which is why Dina's asking about this. So good call out on the stock. It's in a very good uptrend after this more recent kind of pullback. ACE is a very tight, what we call channel. So a channel is just like a series of higher highs and higher lows. At this point, this is 208. I just don't know that you're going to, so you have November 13th earnings, if TradingView is right. The thing about timing here to the end of the year is that because of earnings season, usually we get two things. Usually we get a run up before earnings, which is roughly 2 weeks before their actual earnings events. In that instance, it will be basically into 225s like that. But is here now like the one? Maybe go sideways a little bit. So depending on how you trade it, but between literally here down to 208 should be good pickups. But you'd be looking somewhere around 220s, 225s for the pre-earnings kind of move. If it happens to kind of pull down and pull some liquidity, great. You don't want to see this really lose in force, which would mean below 200. Below 200, this is just this setup has kind of broken and you need to reevaluate. But otherwise, this looks good, but it also looks like it needs a little bit of a breather or a catalyst. It's either breathing or it needs a catalyst. So good for right now. January 75. January mismatch. bmnr. Okay. So IV percentile is what you need to look at. I can look at the chart and say this is probably cheaper than it's been because that's roughly 90 days. %, IV rank. So it's low IV for the last 30 days. That's good. Not opposed to these right now. But I don't think 75 is the right number. I think if you have it as 100 for January 2027. That's what it is. The mini leaps are June's 80s. Mini leaps would be like June 80s in this area. But when you have these, you have intention to ride this out, and the idea is to land in here, which is this is a extension of this consolidation. That's what that is, with a full extension just over 100. And do some wacky numbers, but that's what this is. This would be June 80s. You might even spread that off by buying 60, selling 80 if you but if this is low IV, which it might be, I think you'll be okay. I don't hate this. June 80s are at 1,500. Jan 2027 is about 1,900. That's the trajectory. That's always been here, by the way. But this timeline, so if my timeline to get here is November, possibly things happen and it gets through to like February, that means that I really need to have plenty of time on my options. And there's a reason you would still want to be in June or later so that you don't get really hit with nasty decay. I don't hate those. June 80s. We might have to text somebody about those. And I really don't hate the $60 to $80 spread. How much is that? $60 to $80 spread? That's 4 to 1 or 1 to 4. I'm not a huge fan there. All right. That's enough on bmnr. But not necessarily 75. I do want that convexity. mstr 1017 I mentioned. Well, so 1017 is things were getting wild. Things did get wild. So there's a little bit of a broadening range, meaning that MSTR could be down here. It actually did hit the bottom of this. And at the same time, we're starting to make higher highs. This is a higher low. I'm interested here. When you pull this, it's interesting. What I really need to see is is the rest of the market interested? There's a bit of a volume shelf down here, just under 3. 300 is like a psychological level. And I think this 285 more or less got hit. I just need to see the interest show up. I don't need to snipe the lows on mstr, because once this goes, it's going to start really going. But if this is what we call like a broadening range, that means that I could still get a better entry sub 280 for this kind of trajectory. And there are two things to note. One is this center line, center consolidation. So if you do get a pop here, one, you got to be careful, because if you get into 330 at this point, well, that's when this can happen, like that. So either it's over that center line, meaning it's over 340, and you have clearer skies ahead, and that becomes more of a safe. I say safer, more of a surer bet. In the meantime, I just want to be cautious of buying at any kind of running into overhead resistance, which you still could. So this one, I would need a bigger discount to be really interested in, which would be around that 285 or over 350, 345. But this is what, unless that's just me. If you like it, it's not a bad spot. Because here, I think, and again, time horizon matters, because if you're not thinking of actually catching the absolute lows and you're only thinking, oh, I only want it for a couple of days, well, that's a couple of days that could get you into 340s. So that's what I see right now on MSTR. SMCX, I think you mean SMCL or SMCI? Did we cover that one? ASTS. Thank you. So this is a huge difference. So hopefully these are more thorough for you. 3 to 6 month potential launch date announcement. Yeah. So any type of news like this, these are holding pretty well. So consolidation here. Your next stop is, this thing has I don't even need to look at the chart. Like, this is dumb. So as long as this is holding 85, you guys know, it's 120s. And then it'll probably pull back and maybe retest that. But this is in that level where, there you are. It's defying gravity, more or less. But as long as it's staying in these headlines, I have some confluence into the 100. So it's going to make that push for 100. Maybe it stalls out for a bit and goes sideways. 85 would be that retest. And then you'll see this kind of blow through like that. So this would be that trajectory for exactly this that I would see. So even though, it's like right now, as long as it's holding, bigger pullbacks, 70s, 75s down here. But barring any kind of like offering or news, these are your deep discounts, sub 75 in the meantime. Patrick with a request, DRO. Patrick never gives a request. DRO. What? And of course, you're going to hit me with something crazy like this one. 1 to 3 years. New war for. All right. So monthly. So CI instantly switched timeframes. So dips into the 4s. I don't know the dips into the 4s. This is a violent one. It's probably a super micro cap. So you might get me in trouble. No, it's 5 billion. Thank you. Kept me out of trouble. It's just, this is a small cap, micro cap type season. It's just now might be getting coverage. This is a day from a daily candlestick perspective that this could be a literal buy like right now. If they're buying the lows today. So I'm not seeing a whole lot come in. It's probably not that well known. But the trend is actually intact. Let's see this broader trend. DRO. So even if this were to go sideways for a while, around 5, like that, because of your time frame. So that still puts me with pickups in the mid to low 4s, basically this box, mid to low 4s, and connect these dots. So as trade locations concerned, as far as trade locations concerned, anywhere along this trajectory and path, whether it's at this point or if it's a rapid pullback, at this point, it doesn't really matter. All of that would still be in that same kind of pathing. It's an interesting one. I've never seen this ticker before. Appreciate it though. PayPal, 3 months. You guys don't have a lot of, these are not long time frames. I think that is not. So a 3-month time frame on PayPal is a gamble time frame for sure. It's just too whipsawy to know anything like for sure. It's a good spot, literally here and now, coming into this prior consolidation base. I think this is going to end up being a buy today, just based on your very basic, like, try to pull back, retest of this whole base right here. So assuming this is it, that means that your stop has to be 65s, which is essentially no stop. So sizing is important. You have earnings coming at the end of the month, which your timing is good. I was thinking mid next year's. So here's a tip. If your time frame is 3 months and you're looking at options for the option family, you want to double that time frame. So if I think I'm going to hold something for options for 3 months, I want 6 months worth of time. That's actually true. Which puts me in more of like that March time frame. And I'd still say 80s plus, maybe May. I had Mays, but 80 plus, I think you would probably go to March. But pathing wise this is your large area. It's at 75. At 75, that's where this is kind of more in the clear. What happened here is a little pullback. I think this is your buy zone. This is your buy zone, literally here. And then you're going to get at best, you get another press up in here. Whether or not this fails again and does this is TBD. And that's going to come into earnings at the end of the month. If this does go, cool, it's going to look like break and hold through 80s. And then once this is, if this gets over 80, all right, well, at that point, then you go to 90, which we did this just recently. That would be the trajectory. The only gotcha is literally this right here. Which, is that a big gotcha for you? I don't know. But that's the risk. So this is a good spot. No question. It should bounce. Is it the bounce? We won't know until we get there. So just from a thesis perspective, anything in here, yeah, if you're at it, you're here. It is now. Yeah, even Broadcom's news this morning is like bullish for SMCI. All of it. But this was a good pullback to me. Literally. any of this, all of it. I'm not so tied up in catching a good pullback on SMCI because like I think they're going to have some kind of random announcement at some point. And, you know, if I'm tied up on trying to snipe the absolute lows and like, or catch it just exactly perfectly on this one, knowing the personality, I might just miss it. So I'm not getting too worked up on that for sure. Riot. So all these Bitcoin miners, so they've just been on a tear on their conversions over 20. God, am I going to say this? You almost got me to say, like, of all the Bitcoin miners I've seen lately, this one actually looks the best right now in terms of a technical setup. God, really? Yeah, okay. I will say that because it is true. This is a clean break, pullback retest, and it hasn't made the net like the crazy run. I don't know that they're doing the data center conversion or not, but that's a clean breakout, pullback retest. Does it hold? I mean, if it's the old Riot, it does not. But if it's a new Riot, it could. I would say that. Looking for 20 or at broke from March. Yeah. So the pullback would be right here. So zoom out, look left. You have this right here, July 2023 top. And you have Friday, May 2021 bottom. And below that is like this general consolidation area here, which when you pull this across has formed essentially this box. And so this is the box that Riot just literally broke out of. And Friday's pullback was a deeper pull into right in that 19. So as long as it's the sustained move over this box, that's what I mean by you're in the clear and a better looking chart than most of these Bitcoin miners. I haven't really looked, but this looks better. You just have this one little hump to get through 2370. But to me, maybe you take a couple shots at that, right? 1, 2, and then go. So I would be patient. I don't know, but this looks like it's going to try. Hood earning plays due to prediction markets. So that I think has started to play out. That's already happened. That was, I think, from here. This whole area. So, well, to me, most of that is gone. So I think that what you would be looking for is from the last breakout to here. Oh, look at that. Is that it? I heard a beep. Oh, I think that's it. So if this was the last resistance, so the last breakout from here to here. Yeah, guys. Somebody call him it. Tell him he's being greedy. We got the 130. I know he was looking for 130. He got it after hours. But this breakout's kind of what we call a bullish retracement. As long as it holds 133, this is good. If it loses 133, all right, then we go back to 123, and that's your pullback. From here, though, where does it go? It would be, let's call it, from here to is 160s. All right, so I think we're good. We got one. I heard a little blip on the radar. Let me see. Do we have him?
Yo. Sorry I'm late.
Him?
Only
What's
an
up,
hour and a
man?
half late.
It's all right. We're just wrapping up. I appreciate all the context. We got through. I got better stuff. We have some more time, a little bit, but nice little break here. Yeah.
I won't take too long. What did Miss Cleo say?
Well, last week I think she called it pretty good. This week, believe it or not, so the cards looked bearish, but her recap was, I can't see major bearish events, and we have several chances for a positive recovery. But there's just enough weakness to keep us stuck in range between zones. So net, she's actually calling for a recovery.
Okay, I like it.
I mean, Liberation Day 2.0, or is it 3.0 at this point? I don't know.
That was pretty crazy.
Dude.
Crypto.
I was a little upset because I didn't have my orders working in the cryptoverse. And those are typically the best ones that you get, at least near term or longer term. But yeah, I missed that. I missed those dip buys, but all good. I think we'll have some good stuff.
I obviously didn't have any, like I was long, like I had calls and stuff. I had no puts or anything, so I didn't play in that. But I did get a little bit of buying in, mostly in ETFs. I had a little bit of bmnr, like in the after hours,
definitely.
like after crypto dumped.
bmnr was a pickup for sure. It was bmnr and smci that I bought.
My problem is I'm too deep into bmnr for myself right now, so I don't really want to buy more. But it literally just got back down to my cost basis at like 47, 48. And I was like, okay, too far, I'm in.
Yeah. Was it that far intraday?
Let me tell you what so I bought it in the after hours. I got
might
have been like 48, 49.
Oh, you got that good. No, it's looking really good right now.
48.01 is what I got filled out there.
I mean, you're up a lot just today, right now. Now, I think the bmnr, a couple requests came in for bmnr, so you will be able to pull that one back today. But I think this one looks good. Volatility's coming in a little bit too. So options are, they're getting there. It's definitely coming in. That's for sure. On the option IV. So I mean, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking how do you like my pumpkin? Can you see my pumpkin?
I do. I like it. That's not a real pumpkin though. I need to go. I want to see you carve it. I want to see you carve the pumpkin. That looks like a plastic one.
Dude, it is not plastic. There's a real pumpkin.
I don't
Listen, if you come by, then we'll do a pumpkin carving party.
Okay. I'm game.
Okay. On stream. Do you have any requests when we get to it? Because we just finished Riot. Like, there's a couple more. It looks like I got Bros. We didn't do any of the big ones.
Okay. What do you think of this amcr one? Have you looked at it? I know Amit's audience might have been talking about it too. Stock Talk brought it up and stuff. That one
is that old school?
No. I'm hearing an echo.
Oh. Check.
Check. Okay, no. Yeah, I'm hearing it.
All right. Let me do this. Okay. How about now?
How about now? Not hearing it.
Yeah, you got it. amcr.
Rocket Labs too. I'll use my second one there.
We did ASCS. Rocket Lab had a Electron.
We'll talk about it after though. amcr.
Dude.
Oh, it was amkr. Sorry, you're looking at the wrong one.
Why are we looking at that? That was a really bad chart. What do these guys do?
I believe it's chips with.
It's a semi.
Semiconductor packaging and test services. Give or take, it's on that like making chips in the US play.
No, it's in outsourcing, which is actually interesting. So who do they get work from? So outsourcing and stuff is interesting because honestly, it's probably like the best way to make money in that industry. You have to be. This is slow and steady.
Okay,
This is
so it was Apple. He was excited about this because of an Apple factory that they ended up are working on. I believe Apple's a big customer right now.
okay. Well, they
Building
just
right
outsource.
next to TSMC in Arizona, is what June in the chat said. I think I hit one on the one that chat likes here. We got a couple people. It's
Yeah.
chat. DJin bought it. LOL. Stock Talk's convincing. I'll give him that. And then my quant come in here, ask him if my quant tells me
So
something
Stock
good.
Talk is very news driven, so he might be out tomorrow. Let's be real. But I will send this over to some of my machining. Actually, if anybody's like, this is like machinist type business, is what like testing, outsourcing. Sounds like Lamb research, a different type of Lamb research type company for wafers, maybe a different area, which might be the area to be in. It doesn't look bad. Technically, it's just barely peeking its head over a pretty important kind of inflection point. But this is not a well-known name, so this is equity play any way you slice it. And a longer term hold, but over 29 is good for now. And then if you see like 26s, that's a deeper buy into this area.
You want to know something funny?
Huh.
dbrg. Elon Musk just followed their CEO on Twitter, and the stock's up like 10% now.
Digital Bridge Group?
No. It's up like 6%. Digital Bridge Group.
I don't have a ticker here. Series HIJ.
Wait, why can't I see it? It's dbrg. Yeah, no, that's what I'm looking at. Weird.
Is there a backslash?
No, it's just normal.
Okay.
It is. Oh, wait. No, yeah, it's a $2 billion company. That's weird. It's on Robinhood.
Yeah, I would not. DBRG.
It's a pretty stupid reason to be up, but I mean, it's just the market. Let's just leave off. It doesn't matter. But I just saw the
there's
headline.
Are these their
warrants
funding? Like you can buy their loans, 7.1% Series HIJ. Series H, Series I, Series J. DBRG / PH, PI, PJ. All there.
No, that one looks a lot worse than amcr on stuff. Oh, strong buy. But just a big red circle.
Well, that's dividends.
Oh, that's dividends. Gotcha. But that's still pretty risky. A payout ratio.
It's a $2 billion company. It was looking rough.
Did you see Elon also followed Vlad Tenev on Twitter? So I don't know.
I did see that. Yeah, I mean, weird stuff happens like at critical turning points at stocks. That was a critical turning point, just about $11. Maybe it's a SPAC. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't look like a SPAC. It's one ugly looking chart though. If you look at it long term.
I haven't really looked at this one. Can I tell you another one that I actually got in? It looked really good on Prospero for the net option sentiment, and I'm just testing it out. Nktr, NKTR.
Wow. You going on the Wayback Machine. So are they going for the 1600 strikes?
Yeah, I'm all in for. I'm playing for $1,800 per share. No, like I'm in commons. I'm not in options on this one. So probably this seems like I don't know.
Yeah. I think this was a vaporware company that like went bankrupt or something. Biotech.
For some reason, the net option sentiment score on this thing was. It looked like
I
people
know.
were
So
betting on it.
biotech's really weird. I stay away from this sector.
That's fair.
Yeah, you gotta stay. These move like very crazy on like schedules, release schedules, approval schedules, things like that. And most of the time they run into it's mostly buy the rumor, sell the news. Like when the actual events happen, then they sell off. But if it's a ramp into
All right.
this is a crazy. No, this is not good for. This is not so. So fail for Prospero. What did they say? Was it Prospero?
They were pointing. They were pointing to the net option sentiment and the squeeze, but
No, it's a
we'll see.
fail on that. It's unfortunate because there's only 1,300 volume today, so that's just not even kind of enough volume to move a needle.
Good chef. Well, I don't think the catalyst was today, but did you see the move in JP Morgan?
They have earnings this week.
They have earnings tomorrow. It's quite the day for them, actually. Quite the recovery.
I mean, dude, I can't believe it's 320. But yeah, this is, I mean, a lot of these stocks just pull back right to that prior breakouts. And obviously, like, disappointingly so, but these are pretty technical bounces. Let me see. So I lost my spot. Where were we? Oh no. When I brought you in, then I lost it. But it's all right. We're gone through most of them. Yeah, some of these like Mara, 10% today. Switch data center. A lot of these wild, like old miners switching to this data center model. Oh, that was my okay, Nick. That was my level on Lyft. That's my level on Lyft, Evan.
We're in? Where is it?
On Lyft,
1756?
LYFT. That was literally that was the spot. Are we dead? No, that was the pullback. That was it. 19.
I'm with you and left.
All right. It's a pullback, retest this prior high right here. Let me get some confluence from this swing to here. Is it right there? Oh, pretty close. Definitely from this one. Yeah, I like this. I think that's it's a pullback. I like it. See, let's just see how many. So Nectar had 1,300 options. Lyft has 40,000 calls to 20,000 puts. It's just more volume.
This AJ guy in the chat hates it. It's fine. Listen, it was just one stock, man. I was just asking a question.
Just a stock.
We're good. I don't know. I'm just playing a little trade. The market, I feel like the music is still dancing. So it's still playing. So I'm here dancing. And we'll see. I don't think Friday was it.
Music is playing. I'm not seeing a lot of
music is playing. Come on. What are we talking about?
I'm not seeing a lot of time out here on the lifts. Oh, never mind. I take it back. They went to the leaps, Jan 2027, $20 calls. Went to the leaps. Tesla 3 months. All right, Jay, this was a big deal. Tessie, I almost bought this at the close, and I probably should have, just because 415 was a major I'll put this just a straight across horizontal line. 415 coordinates 415. We're going to make this red. So this was the pivot of all pivots where it's like, all right, at 415, I needed Tesla to get saved. That was the spot. It actually closed just barely below, but looking across the market, I almost took this as a net new option position into the week, which probably would not have been bad. But you look left, and the reason it's such a big deal is twofold. One, this area right here that we just came out of, this is where we pivoted pretty hard in the past. So here, all of this, and then a breakdown right here. And then I can pull this back again. Look where this is going. Boom. Exactly November 2021 high. So 415 was a crucial spot for Tesla to open above and hold over. That was where the near-term decent dip buys would be. Is it out of the muck? I don't know. The prevailing uptrend is significantly lower. I'll be completely honest. Meaning like the prevailing uptrend is way down here. All of this, which would mean like around this line would be better buys. But can this go sideways? It can. And in the meantime, there's two spots. 380s would be one. Actually, I had multiple confluences. I should have just gone for it. What an idiot. I had 409 here. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I like this. The only issue with Tesla is that I still need to see it actually continue on. So I'm digging in a little deeper at the moment. So from here to actually here, it's got to get over 440. So 440 is kind of like that halfway point and this general area here. So if it can get over 440, cool. Then it's got a little bit more life left in it, meaning it could do this to 450. If it can get over 450, then we're going to have that next move into that. At that point, I would expect some kind of pullback, and you'd want to still see this hold really that 440 level all the way across. So basically getting over 440 from here, from this time frame, 3 months. Tesla 3 months all-time first or 360. So the answer to the question is 415. 415 holds, then all-time high first. If 415 fails, then 360 is your better buy. I would not be doing anything at 390. Maybe just over 360, just around 360. In the meantime, as long as it's over 415, I think you can honestly, realistically expect some kind of chop. I think that's more reasonable and I think more realistic, at least for Tesla, having had this big run, even still, in the sideways consolidation. I don't hate it. It's not out of the weeds. It's very much in the sideways box, which is to 450. But if this does end up being that pullback consolidation for a break, that means that just the very next move from this one is 5. Very next move, which would be probably post earnings. So all-time highs, let's be more specifically 5. So the question is it 5 or 360 first? As long as it's in the box, if it's over 450s, 8s to 5s, which makes it kind of sound lame. 415, as close to 415 as you can, is your near-term dip buys, which we got on Friday. But if you lose, call it 409. If you lose 409, I think you're deep in the 360s. I'm going to leave it with that one. I think that was pretty thorough. And that all happens within that time frame. But, all right, man. Appreciate you hopping in, dude. Oh, I just took him off. He's back.
Can I say one thing before we go?
Yeah.
If you are here and you are not subscribed, if you are subscribed and you do not have that bell button in it so you get notifications when you're live,
Click the little bell.
Click the bell. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Paper's doing cool stuff. You enjoy him in other places. You love this channel. And I know he, as an educator, is always trying to do more and more cool stuff. So, yeah.
I'll leave you with this one chart. I posted it. You can follow me on Twitter too, but I posted the chart. Dreamforce coming in hot. Looks like we're already breaking 250. I'm thinking 260. Well, actually, I posted a whole trade, but I don't think this. Yeah, I think it looks good. We'll base in the 260s. Post reinforce. We're looking for this. We're looking for this. That's it. All right. Well, anyways, Evanito, I appreciate you as always. It's always fun, you guys. And I will see you all tomorrow, very likely, on the other channel. Subscribe, like, appreciate you. Everybody. Technical Tuesday. Yeah,
we
Jay,
need a Wednesday show.
Did already hold, yeah.
Guys, we're 2/5 of the way there to this being a part-time job. Here we go.
2/5 of the way there.
Wednesday.
Dude, Mr. Pretzel, honestly, absolutely, I do long terms. We did talk about bmnr, yes, and all the timestamps will be updated after the stream shuts down. We actually upload this a second time, so it'll be on the video homepage also. But all right, guys, appreciate you, and I will see you all on the next one. Adios. See you out there, Evan. Later.
Appreciate you, sir.
Bye.